So, when you see a disabled person and you don't know whether or not to help them with what they're struggling with, or, let them do it and, they're good, I would say act accordingly. Like, let them tell you if they need the help. Because whether that person was born with their disability, or or if they weren't, but they've had their disability for many years, there's a chance that they learn different tips and tricks on how to do certain things that they used to do a little bit easier, and now it's a bit of a struggle, but they can still kind of do it. It's something about still having that independence, and I get it because I'm one of those people. I have 3 neurological disorders, which I mentioned in the pinned post on my profile. It's the introduction post. And one of them causes chronic pain and weakness and stuff like that, which is the fibromyalgia, which was the last condition I was diagnosed with almost 10 years ago. And even though I've had it for this many years, I still have a lot of days where I get frustrated, not be able to do some of the things I used to, as easy, say like opening something. I always had a significant struggle, but before I had all these extra issues with my health, I was fairly strong despite my size. So now when I'm trying to open something and I struggle, I get so mad at myself. Like my body, I'm 36 and I feel like my body has already failed me. So, I've had to learn things like, those jar grippers. I think they're made of silicone or whatever, and it helps you grip the jar a little bit better and it opens. And sometimes that's not enough, depending how tight, that cap or that whatever is on there. You can run it under, I want to say it's hot water, in the sink, and it's supposed to expand the cap or whatever, so it's a little bit easier to come off. Or say Tupperware, if you put your food away and it's still kind of hot or whatever, and you have those the Tupperware where the sides lock on, those lock lids, whatever the hell you call them, and you unlock it and you can't take it off right away, so it's the suction or whatever, it's just it makes it stuck. And I'm always afraid that if I keep pulling too hard, I'll break the little clips on the top of it, and just I don't know. So sometimes you can get a knife or a fork and you can just kind of jimmy it off there. Doesn't always work. Sometimes it takes more than that to get it off. But I'm trying to think of what else. Because I have a chronic illness, that causes the pain and the weakness, and I have the bad days with the flare-ups. I can lift some things up to a certain weight, but on the really bad days, sometimes those things are a struggle, and that's usually when I'll ask say one of my brothers to help, or my stepdad if he's home. I won't ask my mom because she's almost 70, so she has her struggles too, and of course the older she's gotten, the more she's gone downhill with her balance, and she's got arthritis. So I get it. We're in somewhat a similar boat as each other, but our problems are a little different. So even still, my mom, she is a very prideful woman, and if she thinks she can do something, she will do it. But sometimes even when she can't, she still will try, and you have to fight with her to hey mom, let me do this, or my stepdad will be no, let me do this. And I can be the same way sometimes. Sometimes when I know I can't do something, I get mad at myself and I'll do it, and then I pay for it later. So I try and be better about listening to my body, and when somebody offers to help or I need help, I ask. But because like I said, a lot of us still try to keep that independence because say that person lives by themselves, or they're trying to eventually move out on their own. Like me, I know it probably sounds pathetic, I'm 36 and I still live with my family. There are actually 5 of us adults that live in this house together. Part of it's because the rent is so high, and where I live in Massachusetts, the cost is ridiculous. It's, I think, one of the top, let's say 5 or 10 states that are just the most expensive to live in. So I understand that there's so many different people who live with multiple people wherever they live, especially if you're in one of those more expensive states. It's really hard right now. The economy is just shit. Hopefully that changes. Hopefully fairly soon. But we're trying to move out to Tennessee. Hopefully that alone will be a bit more manageable, cost wise with stuff. But also from there, I'm trying to get into my own apartment, and either it's going to be one of those like handicap accessible type buildings for like, disabled and elderly, or a low income type place. So I do try my best to do certain things for myself that I know I'm gonna need someone's help with. It's like, tackle these things on the days that are good, and on the days that are bad, just focus on taking care of myself and doing what I can that day. With a health condition that's kind of like unpredictable, you really gotta like gauge it, so you're not like putting yourself in a bad position, because it's like if you really got only yourself to depend on, and you're not like, say you're married and your spouse is probably in like better health than you, or I only have a cat, so it's gonna be me and my cat, at some point, and I can't really ask him, hey, take this out for me. He's just gonna look at me and be like, what? In his little cat language, he's very squeaky, so that's the best I'm gonna get from him. Little freeloader. At least he's cute, so, and very affectionate. But yeah. So do not try and do things like take that stuff out of their hands and kind of like push your way in to do this thing because you see them struggling a little bit. If they want their help, they will ask you. I'm not going to say that's for every person who's disabled, because there are ones who can still do stuff for themselves, but they'd rather not. They'll like legit play on their disability, and it makes me mad that there are disabled people out there who would do that have a little bit more they can do to like work with than people who have like a disability that's like a lot worse. And I think that's why for some people who have disabilities that are like more complicated than others, some people don't take them seriously because they see the people out there who will actually play on it and make you feel bad for them constantly, and will milk things like, people who milk the system when they don't need it. I'm not saying that the person who doesn't need, say, social security disability because they are disabled, they, have the right to that. What I'm saying is, like I said, they're people who, they're a little bit luckier than others, and I really don't know where I was going with that, but I feel like I kind of like made my point.